bright and culture's warm embrace. From fairy festivals to tranquil to a light air, Coimbatoore's proud heartbeats beyond compare. It's therefore most fitting that the city's third Cost and Management Accountants Convention 2026 is hosted in this dynamic city. With huge respect and proud, Coimbatore cordially welcomes every one of you to the NCMAC 2026. We welcome you all. Thank you. President ICMAI and Chairman NCMAC 2026, Council members, esteemed speakers, senior members of the profession, classical dance. We are truly honored to welcome on the stage Sri Ramanujadasan Velalur Sri Gopalakrishnan, a renowned Bharatanatyam artist whose devotion and art are inextricably linked. For the sixth consecutive years, he has graced the sacred halls of the Srirangam Perumal temple during Vaikunta Ekadasi and performed at Tirumala Tirupati temple during Brahmotsavam. His footprints in dance have blessed holy grounds such as Pandarpur Udupi Krishna temple, Srivilliputur Andal temple, and the renowned temples in Kumbakonam. He learned Bharatanatyam from none other than Lord Venkateshwara himself through divine dreams. The life dedicated to Perumal, performing daily pujas, he now brings us the sacred rhythm of devotion through dance. Fasten your smile and tap your feet. Celebration starts now. Please put your hands together and welcome Sri Ramanujadasar to the stage.
சரவண பவகுகனே ஷண்முக சரவணனே ஜன்னத்தக்கு ஜகதத்தரிகிட கிர்ரக்கிட தக தக தஜ்ஜம் ஜகதக்கிட தக ஜகத தகதிகு தக்கு திக்கு தக தஜ்ஜம் ஜன்னத்தக்கு ஜகதத்தரிகிட கிர்ரக்கிட தக தக தஜ்ஜம் ஜகதக்கிட தக ஜகத தகதிகு தக்கு திக்கு தக தஜ்ஜம் ஜன்னத்தக்கு கிர்ரக்கிட தக ஜகத தகதிகு தக்கு தரிகிட ததிங்கினது தக ததிங்கினது தகதிகு ததிங்கினது தா ததிங்கினது தக ததிங்கினது தகதிகு ததிங்கினது தா ததிங்கினது தக ததிங்கினது தகதிகு ததிங்கினது சரவண பூந்தடத்தில் ஆறு மதலையாய் உதித்தவனாம் அரவணைத்தாள் கௌரி அவன் அருமுகனாய் சிரித்தான்.
சரவண பூத்தடத்தில் ஆறு மதலையாய் உதித்தவனா சரவண பூத்தடத்தில் ஆறு மதலையாய் உதித்தவனா அரவணைத்தாள் கௌரி அவன் அருமுகனாய் சிரித்தான். அரவணைத்தாள் கௌரி அவன் அருமுகனாய் சிரித்தான். சரவண பூத்தடத்தில் ஆறு மதலையாய் உதித்தவனா அரவணைத்தாள் கௌரி அவன் அருமுகனாய் சிரித்தான். சரவண பூத்தடத்தில் ஆறு மதலையாய் உதித்தவனா அரவணைத்தாள் கௌரி அவன் அருமுகனாய் சிரித்தான்.
சரவண பவகுகனே ஷண்முக சரவணனே சரவண பவகுகனே ஷண்முக சரவணனே
தோ கிடதக தோ தோ கிடதக தக்கும் திக்குத்தக தரிகிட தோ கிடதக தோ தோ கிடதக தக்கும் திக்குத்தக தரிகிட தோ கிடதக தோ கிடதக தக்கும் திக்குத்தக தரிகிட தோ கிடதக தோ தோ கிடதக தக்கும் திக்குத்தக தரிகிட தக்கும் திகு தரிகிட தக்கும் திகு தரிகிட கும் திகு தரிகிட தத்திக்கிடதகிடும் 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 மாங்கனி வேண்டி நின்றான் உலகை ஆமையில் மீது வந்தான் ஆங்கவன் ஆனை முகன் பெற்றிட ஆண்டியாய் வேடம் கொண்டான்.
மாங்கனி வேண்டி நின்றான் உலகை மாமையில் மீது வந்தான். மாங்கனி வேண்டி நின்றான் உலகை மாமையில் மீது வந்தான். ஆங்கவன் ஆனை முகன் பெற்றிட ஆண்டியாய் வேடம் கொண்டான். ஆங்கவன் ஆனை முகன் பெற்றிட ஆண்டியாய் வேடம் கொண்டான். மாங்கனி வேண்டி நின்றான் உலகை மாமயில் மீது வந்தான். ஆங்கவன் ஆனை முகன் பெற்றிட ஆண்டியாய் வேடம் கொண்டான். சரவண பவ குகனே சண்முக சரவணனே, சரவண பவ குகனே சண்முக சரவணனே.
தா தரி தன ஜம் தா தரி தன ஜம் தா தரி ஜம் தா தரி தன ஜம் த ஜன ஜன கிட்ட ஜம் ஜகதரி கிட்ட ஜம் குகதரி தக ஜம் தக்கரதகதும் 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 பிரணவ பொருளையா அந்த பிரம்மனை சிறையில் இட்டான். அரணவன் குருவாக வந்து பிரணவ பொருள் உரைத்தான்.
பிரணவ பொருளறியா அந்த பிரம்மனை சிறையிலிட்டான். பிரணவ பொருளறியா அந்த பிரம்மனை சிறையிலிட்டான். அரணவன் குருவாக வந்து பிரணவ பொருள் சொன்னான். அரணவன் குருவாக வந்து பிரணவ பொருள் சொன்னான். பிரணவ பொருளறியா அந்த பிரம்மனை சிறையிலிட்டான். அரணவன் குருவாக வந்து பிரணவ பொருள் சொன்னான். சரவண பவ குகனே சண்முக சரவணனே, சரவண பவ குகனே சண்முக சரவணனே.
தகதத்தி தகதஜம் குகுதரிகிட திமிதஜம் தகதரி தக தகஜனு தகதிவி தஜம் தக்கரதகதும் தகதத்தி தகதஜம் குகுதரிகிட திமிதஜம் தகதரி தகதன தகஜனு தகதிவி தஜம் தக்கரதகதும் தத்தித்தரி தனஜுனு திமித்தரிங்கினதா தித்தரி தனஜுனு திமித்தரிங்கினதா தரித்தனஜுனு திமித்தரிங்கினது. ஆவலாய் ஔவையவள் தமிழை ஆனந்தமாய் கேட்க நாவல் கனி பழத்தை சுட சுட நல்கி தமிழ் சுவைத்தான்.
ஆவலாய் ஔவையவள் தமிழை ஆனந்தமாய் கேட்க. ஆவலாய் ஔவையவள் தமிழை ஆனந்தமாய் கேட்க. நாவல் கனிப்பழத்தை சுட சுட நல்கி தமிழ் சுவைத்தான். 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 சரவண பவ குகனே சண்முக சரவணனே, சரவண பவ குகனே சண்முக சரவணனே.
தாதரித்த தனத்த ஜுணுத்த தகதரிகிட தக 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 தாதரித்த தகதரிகிட தக தாதனத்த தகதரிகிட தக தாதரித்த தாதனத்த தக்கத்தஜம் தத்திக்கிரதகதும் தா தக்கத்தஜம் தத்திக்கிரதகதும் தா தக்கத்தஜம் தத்திக்கிரதகதும். உபய பதம் சூட்டி உவந்தருள் செய்தான். ஜம் ஜம் கிடதக ஜகதரி கிடதக ஜம் ஜம் கிடதக ஜகதரி கிடதக ஜம் ஜம் கிடதக ஜகதரி கிடதக தஜம் தஜம் தகஜம் கர மலர் வேலேந்தி கலாப மயில் மீது உறமகள் குஞ்சரியை அரவணைத்தான் வேலன்.
அபயக்கரம் தூக்கி ஆட்கொள்வான் முருகன் உபயபதம் சூட்டி உவந்தருள் செய்தான் அபயக்கரம் தூக்கி ஆட்கொள்வான் முருகன் உபயபதம் சூட்டி உவந்தருள் செய்தான் கரமலர் வேலேந்தி கலாபமயில் மீது புறமகள் குஞ்சரியை அரவணைத்தான் வேலன் கரமலர் வேலேந்தி கலாபமயில் மீது புறமகள் குஞ்சரியை அரவணைத்தான் வேலன் சரவண பவ குகனே சண்முக சரவணனே சரவண பவ குகனே சண்முக சரவணனே
தக்கிட தக தரிக்கிட தக திக்கிட தக தரிக்கிட தக தாக்கு தீக்கு தத் தித்த தாக்கு தீக்கு தத் தித்த தஜம் 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 ததிகிட தஜம் ததிகிட தஜம் ததிகிட
சரவண பவ குகனே சண்முக சரவணனே சரவண பவ குகனே சண்முக சரவணனே சரவண பவ குகனே சூரனை வதம் செய்தார் செந்தூர் கடலில் கோயில் கொண்டார் கரமலர் வேலேந்தி நாளும் அடியவர்க்கு அருள் தந்தார் அடியவர்க்கு அருள் தந்தார் அடியவர்க்கு அருள் தந்தார்
மார்கழி திங்கள்
ಭಾಗ್ಯದಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನೆ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನೆ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ನಿಂಕುದ ಗೆಜ್ಜೆ ಕಾಲಿನ ನಾದವ ತೋರುದ ಸಜ್ಜನ ಸಾಧು ಪೂಜೆ ವೇಳೆಗೆ ಮಜ್ಜಿಗೆಯೊಳಗಿನ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆಯಂತೆ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಕನಕ ವೃಷ್ಟಿ ಕರಯುತ ಬಾರೆ ಮನಕೆ ಮಾನವ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಯ ತೋರ ದಿನಕರ ಕೋಟಿ ದೇಯದಿ ಕೊಳೆಯುವ ಜನಕ ಜರಾಯನ ಕುಮಾರಿ ಬೇಗ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನೆ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಅತ್ತಿತ್ತಗಳರ ಭಕ್ತರ ಮನೆಯೊಳು ನಿತ್ಯ ಮಗೋತ್ಸವ ನಿತ್ಯ ಸುಮಂಗಳ ಸತ್ಯವ ತೋರುದ ಸಾಧು ಸಜ್ಜನರ ಚಿತ್ತದಿ ಪೊಳೆಯುವ ಪುತ್ಥಳಿ ಗೊಂಬೆ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಶಂಖೆ ಇಲ್ಲದ ಭಾಗ್ಯವ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಕಂಕಣ ಕೈಯ ತಿರುಗುದ ಬಾರೆ ಕುಂಕುಮಾಂಕಿತ ಪಂಕಜ ಲೋಚನೆ ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣನ ಪಿಂಗದ ರಾಣಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನೆ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಕರೆ
In every gesture, we saw devotion, and in every step, we felt a divine performance. Let's give a thunderous applause for the splendid performance. With due respect, request CMATCA Srinivasa Prasad, President of the Institute, to present the memento and adorn him with the shawl to Sri Ramanujadasan Vellalur Sri Gopalakrishnan for the exquisite performance. Let us give a huge round of applause for the splendid performance of Sri Ramanujadasan Vellalur Sri Gopalakrishnan. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Honorable esteemed council members of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, regional council members, formal presidents, representatives of the various chapters across the nation, office bearers of the Institute, dear delegates, distinguished speakers, and fellow cost and management accountants, colleagues, students, friends from media, and a special welcome to the members and students joined virtually from across the globe. It is my proud privilege to welcome you all to the 63rd National Cost and Management Accountants Convention, organized by the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. We are extremely honored by the august presence of our esteemed dignitaries, senior professionals, and eminent speakers whose leadership and vision continue to guide and strengthen the CMA profession. Your presence adds great significance to this inaugural gathering. The theme of this convention, reposition, intensify, strengthen, and enhance, is both timely and transformational. It reflects the evolving responsibilities of cost and management accountants in a rapidly changing economic environment where strategic cost leadership, governance, sustainability, and value creation are paramount. This convention aims to provide a platform for meaningful dialogue through leadership and knowledge exchange, enabling CMAs to reposition their roles, intensify professional competencies, strengthen institutional framework, and enhance their contribution to industry, government, and nation building. On behalf of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, I extend a very warm and respectful welcome to our chief guest, distinguished speakers, and all the delegates who have joined us from across the nation. We look forward to an inspiring inaugural session that will set the tone for insightful deliberations over the course of the convention. With these words, I once again welcome you all and request your wholehearted participation in the proceedings. Thank you.
Behind every successful business decision, there's always a CMA. In today's fast-paced economy, where every decision counts, there is one profession standing quietly behind success: the cost and management accountant. Behind every efficient system, every optimized budget, every value-driven policy, there's a CMA, a legacy of nation building. The Institute of Cost Accountants of India, ICMRI, a statutory body under an Act of Parliament, was established in 1959. Operating under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India, ICMRI has been mentoring business leadership and financial excellence for over 66 years. A growing family of future leaders. Today, ICMRI stands proud as the largest CMA body in the world with over 1 lakh plus qualified CMA professionals, 6 lakh plus aspiring CMA students, backed by a powerful nationwide network of 117 chapters, 401 ROCC, and 61 support centers. ICMRI reaches every corner of India and beyond through 11 overseas centers. A world-class curriculum that builds real leaders. The CMA journey is rigorous, relevant, and rewarding with a 3-tier course structure designed to sharpen analytical, managerial, and decision-making skills. Foundation course covers the building blocks: business laws, financial accounting, economics, statistics, and communication. Intermediate course dives into application, cost accounting, direct and indirect taxation, financial management, corporate accounting, business data analytics. Final course, the strategic level. Strategic financial management, national and international taxation, strategic cost management, corporate reporting, and one powerful elective like business valuation or entrepreneurship. Elective specialization options. Students choose from cutting-edge electives like strategic performance management, risk management in banking, entrepreneurship and startups, beyond books, practical, industry-focused training. CMAs are not just thinkers, they are doers. From the intermediate level itself, students begin 15 plus months of practical training with one of the 15,000 plus companies affiliated with ICMRI. Students also benefit from industry-oriented training, soft skills development, advanced analytics and NPTEL certified tech courses from IIT Madras, webinars, model papers, MCQ portals, e-libraries, tools of a tech-savvy professional. Accessible and affordable for all. A world-class career shouldn't cost the world. The total course fee for CMA, including all 3 levels, is less than many one-year educational loans. And to help every deserving student, ICMRI offers scholarships for meritorious and economically weaker students, fee waivers for physically challenged students, National Scholarship Scheme for top university rank holders, career scope in India and abroad. As a CMA, you don't just get a job, you build a career across industries and governance in roles such as financial analyst, cost controller, internal auditor, head of finance, project consultant, credit risk officer, tax manager, tax consultants, director of finance, CFO, COO, or even CEO. CMAs are eligible for UPSC roles like ICOS, IAS, IRS, and more. Recognized by UGC as equivalent to a postgraduate degree. Recognized internationally by UK NERIC and accepted in UAE, UK, and other countries. Proven track record of success. Over 4,000 placements in just 5 years through campus drives. CTC offered up to 36 lakh rupees per annum, with an average of 12 lakh rupees per annum. Recruited by PSUs, MNCs, the big 6 consulting firms, and top corporates. And this success begins. Many CMAs secure placements even before finishing the final level. A career that impacts the nation. Many CMAs serve India through the Indian Cost Account Service ICOS, a prestigious group of service in the Government of India.
A symbol of knowledge, enlightenment, and the dispelling of darkness, the ceremonial light of the lamp is a revered tradition that transcends culture and signifies the pursuit of wisdom. As we inaugurate, we honor this ancient ritual, infusing it with the spirit of collaboration and intellectual exploration. All of the radiance of this symbolic act to ignite the flame of curiosity within us, inspiring the exchange of ideas and the forging of connection that will define the success of NCMAC. We request the dignitaries to light the auspicious lamp, signifying the formal commencement of the 63rd National Cost and Management Accounting Convention 2026. The first flame symbolizes hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of time, there is a glimmer of light that promises a brighter tomorrow. The second flame symbolizes unity. Just as these flames merges their brilliance, we too come together, united for our diversity. The third flame symbolizes aspiration, which reminds us of the courage to reach for the stars and turn our aspiration into reality. The fourth flame represents love. It is the love that binds us, the love that makes this grand feast a celebration of our shared humanity. Finally, the fifth flame represents courage. Life shrinks or expands in one's proportion to courage. The lamp representing the beacon of knowledge serves as guiding light, illuminating the path of our collective journey. Over the next 3 days, as we gather here from diverse corners of the country, the glow of the lamp symbolizes unity in our pursuit of understanding, innovation, and shared progress. May the light of knowledge shine brightly upon us, guiding our deliberation and fostering a spirit of collaboration. We request the dignitaries to please be seated. Thank you, dignitaries.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the dignitaries to the dais. We request CMATCA Srinivasa Prasad, President, the Institute of Cost Accountants of India and Chief Patron of the 63rd National Cost and Management Accountants Convention 2026, and CMA Neeraj Joshi, Vice President of the Institute and Chairman of NCMAC, to please accompany the Chief Guest, Sri Narayan Sethuraman, Managing Director, Sanma Technologies Private Limited, to the dais. Let's put our hands together for our Chief Guest. We welcome to the dais CMA Manoj Kumar Anand, Council Member of the Institute and Convener of NCMAC 2026. We welcome CMA Ashwin G. Dalwadi, Council Member and former President of the Institute, Chairman of Technical Committee of the NCMAC. We welcome CMA Vijay Kiran Agastya, Chairman SARC of the Institute and Co-Chairman of the NCMAC, to the dais. All of your presence here today makes this occasion truly special, and we are honored to have all of you here with us. Let's give a thunderous applause to our dignitaries on the dais. Thank you. As we gather here today to commence the 63rd National Cost and Management Accountants Convention, let us take a moment to set a harmonious tone for our proceedings. Before we delve into the wealth of knowledge and discussions awaiting us, we invite you to partake in soulful Tamil Thai Vaarthu that will uplift our spirits and provide a moment of reflection. We request everyone to rise for Tamil Thai Vaarthu.
The honor of welcoming this national convention belongs to our delegate whose voice carries experience, wisdom, and a genuine commitment to progress. It's my pleasure to invite CME Manoj Kumar Anand, Council Member of the Institute and Convener of the NCMAC, to deliver the welcome address.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Our chief guest of this inaugural session, Shri Narayanan Seturaman, our President of the Institute, Shri Prasad, Vice President of the Institute, Neeraj Joshi ji, former President Ashwin Dalwadi ji, SARC Chairperson, my council colleagues who are present here, all council colleagues are here, former presidents, delegates from various public sector undertakings, our students, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you on behalf of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India on this 63rd National Convention in this beautiful and enchanting city of Coimbatore. We just witnessed a very thrilling performance just before the start of this. It was amazing, the balancing and everything was simply amazing. Friends, the theme of this convention has been thought over very studiously by the council and especially by President and Vice President and of course former President Dalwadi ji. Rise India. We are syncing ourselves with the overall aspirations of our great country, India, and we are trying that our profession should be bridging the gaps in that line, basically. During the coming 2 days, you will be witnessing excellent technical sessions by excellent scholars who have gathered from all over India to this place. This theme, it has 4 thematic tracks of this convention. First is repositioning India and our role as cost and management accountants. My other colleagues will be giving you a detailed roadmap as to what we are doing by aligning our syllabus. Vinay is looking into that, and we are now trying to bridge the gaps, and we are trying to bridge the aspirations and the industry requirements by way of our syllabus, basically. Then intensifying growth of the profession, we are trying to strengthen our competence and capabilities, and we are enhancing the capabilities for manufacturing and service leadership, for which you will be witnessing the interlinking with all the industrialists who will be coming in our technical sessions. I'm sure this beautiful city, the beautiful people over here, excellent food, and Isha Foundation, which is nearby around 1 hour, will provide you with an all-over-encompassing experience to this place. With this, on behalf of my council, I welcome all of you for a very thrilling experience. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my proud privilege to invite the Vice President of the Institute and Chairman of this NCMAC. His dynamic leadership, meticulous planning, and steadfast commitment have been instrumental in shaping this convention. Please join me in warmly welcoming CMA Neeraj Dhananjay Joshi, Vice President of the Institute and Chairman of NCMAC, to deliver his address to the gathering.
Very good afternoon to all the participants and a warm welcome on behalf of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, ICMAI. Respected Shri Narayan Sethuraman sir, Chief Guest of today's program, CMA TCA Srinivasa Prasad sir, President of ICMAI, CMA Ashwin Dalwadi ji, former President of ICMAI, CMA Manoj Kumar Anand ji, Council Member and Convener of NCMAC 2026, CMA Vijay Kiran Agastya sir, Chairman SIRC and Co-Chairman of NCMAC, all former Presidents of the Institute, my colleagues in the Council, Regional Council and chapters, members of the Institute and corporate delegates. I welcome you to the 63rd National Cost and Management Accountants Convention 2026. For this NCMAC, we have chosen the theme of Rise India that signifies the vision of the Institute for the future of our great profession. Rise, as you all know by now, stands for reposition, intensify, strengthen and enhance. NCMAC is one of the means to deliberate on each of these aspects to have a clear vision of what needs to be achieved by the profession and professionals so as to continue our contribution to the growth story of India. During the next 2 days, we will listen to industry experts, renowned academicians, policymakers, and would have chance to deliberate on our collective vision of Rise India and Rise CMA. The recent developments in the world have certainly shown us that world order is changing, or the norms around which the world economics mood is changing. And there seems to be a clear divide once again between the Western powers and rest of the world. Multipolarity is now the new buzzword, and India, unfortunately, is at its receiving end. For one simple major reason, if you ask me, and is that we are growing too fast for the liking of too many. And we are going strong, which is not liked by the world powers. This growth is the result of dedication and efforts by all of us in every field of work. The CMAs have also been proud part of this story by engaging with the stakeholders in achieving cost optimization, resource optimization, financial planning, ensuring compliances, etc. Peter Drucker has said, the greatest danger in times of turbulence is not the turbulence. It is to act with yesterday's logic. The current times are equally turbulent, and the CMAs have to embrace Rise wholeheartedly. The time has come for us to do something more, something extra, that will allow us to counter the economic challenges that would surely come our way, and that's where the Rise India, Rise CMA will resonate well. CMAs will now have to look beyond their traditional roles and adopt more innovative thinking. Why I feel that from here onwards, the economic success will be achieved by creating differentiating products, differentiating technologies, differentiating services. And as auditors, consultants, advisors, we have to play our role in achieving this. We will have to work with industry in developing a sustainable supply chain that is both efficient and cost effective. We will also have to ensure that innovation is supported by value re-engineering and resource optimization, strategies that would go forward. CMAs also have to play a crucial role in the whole AI ecosystem. The development of AI is at exponential rate, and what we are seeing today will be like a stone age for AI in next decade. This will surely generate threats for the profession per se, but it will be a great boost for overall economy if we as a nation can be one of the front runners in this new world order. Service industry will surely see a sea change, and we being part of it would not be isolated either. We have to make sure that we develop agile consultancy and consultancy tool models. The demand of the stakeholders in terms of deployment of analytical tools has to be met in the shortest possible time, and that is how we professionals can add real value to the AI game. CMAs in profession till date have been mainly focusing on compliance, which has its own importance in generating world-class and reliable ecosystem and organizations that are trustworthy and attract FDI. But now the time has come to shift the focus on consultancy as well. Honorable PM also has expressed this vision of creating Indian Big Four consultancy firms, and the CMAs shall take lead in this effort. We have to adopt and adapt to the new and upcoming areas of consultancy. This will require a lot of relearning and acquiring new skills and knowledge, and the concept of RISE will be at our hand to make our mark. Sir, Winston Churchill had said, to improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. So, in times to come, the learning will be frequent, the disruptions will be frequent, and CMAs will have to be ready for such frequent changes so as to be relevant and to continue our contribution for growth of our nation. Ultimately, we have to adopt RISE as a philosophy of life. We have to ensure that our actions are conceptually aligned to Industry 5.0, where the focus will be on human-machine integration to ensure sustainability of environment and also human life. To conclude, I will reiterate words of wisdom by great Rabindranath Tagore. The highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. I once again welcome all of you for NCMAC 2026, and I wish that all of us will realize the dream of RISE India. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our esteemed chief guest, Shri Narayan Seduraman, has achieved remarkable milestones in his distinguished career and continues to be a source of inspiration to all of us at the NCMAC. As we express our sincere gratitude for graciously accepting our invitation and for honoring this NCMAC with his kind presence despite his demanding schedule, we would like to present a token of our appreciation. I may now request CMA TCA Srinivasa Prasad, President of the Institute and Chief Patron of the 63rd NCMAC 2026, to present a memento to our chief guest, Shri Narayan Seduraman, and adorn him with a shawl. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. This memento serves as a small gesture, a symbol of our deep respect and a heartfelt thanks for the wisdom, experience, and inspiration. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, dignitaries. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to invite a distinguished delegate who brings clarity of thought and depth of insight to our deliberations. Entrusted with introducing the theme of this NCMAC, Reposition India and CMAs, Intensify, Strengthen and Enhance. CMA Ashwin G. Dalwadi, Council Member and former President of the Institute and Chairman, Technical Committee of the NCMAC, will set the intellectual and strategic tone for the sessions ahead. Please put your hands together in welcoming CMA Ashwin G. Dalwadi to the stage.
Good afternoon. Sri Narayan Seduraman ji, President TCA S. Srinivasan ji, Vice President Neeraj ji, M.K. Anand ji, and Vijay Kiran ji, and of the dais, former presidents, council colleagues, regional council, and chapter representatives and colleagues, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to stand before you in giving the overview of the today's 63rd National Cost Management Accountants Convention, NCMAC, Rise India. The Rise India represents the Council's long-term IIM Ahmedabad guided approach to reposition ICMAI as a strategic contributor to India's economic growth, transformation, and aligned with the national aspiration of becoming third largest global economy. Please note that this framework sets the direction and it is not the destination. Let me give you a brief background about this theme. Before elections, all ministries were directed to prepare a vision document for their own ministry and their departments for vision under the name Vision 2047. And as a part of it, we being part of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, we were also advised to prepare our document and vision document for 2047. At this juncture, we thought that whatever we do, in Gujarati we call it Parki Ma Kaan Vinde. Matlab, somebody outsider only can pierce our daughter's ear. So we thought that it is better that instead of we develop within the council or within the institute, let us approach some renowned consultants. And we found that IIM Ahmedabad is known for strategy development. There were two other goals also were achieved through this selection. One, it is an Indian origin, so make in India, within India. So we did it, and finally we received some inputs, not final one, that we shall concentrate on 4 pillars and move ahead for the growth of the institute, and that is RISE. RISE India strategy has been developed. It is on 4 pillars. And before that, see, we deliberated a lot and found that we are hardly 18% of chartered accountants, cost accountants, and CS members. We need to rise, and if India is rising from 4.1 trillion to 30 trillion growth by 2047, then also we need to grow. Accordingly, after a lot of deliberations, we found that we need to reach our membership from 1 lakh to 16.5 lakhs by 2047. It is a mammoth job, challenging job, but our council is ready to accept, and on that front, we are moving ahead with this, and as a part of it, IAM has recommended RISE. Three main things they have suggested: visit our mission and vision statements, carve out distinct professional identity, and action plan formula, action plan pillars called RISE. What is RISE? Of course, my earlier speakers have already explained, but let me give you the background. Reposition the brand, intensify the growth, enhance capabilities, and strengthen competencies. Now in this, by this, what we are going to achieve, our focus area are through RISE, revitalize the brand identity. Outcome by 2047 will be unified brand in the ecosystem, CMA as a strategic advisors. I stands for institutional growth and outreach. This would be the focus area, and our outreach would be 16 lakhs CMA members and having reach up to 70% of the top universities. Academic and competency reforms. This is the focus area, and global, we will be having global benchmarks, digital case-based curriculum, and governance and execution capacity. This outcome would be data-driven, digitally integrated, and agile ICMAI. So this looks simple in addressing, but the big question is how to reach from 1 lakh to 16.5 lakhs. And for that, we have chosen this theme for NCMAC, and during the period of this 3 days sessions, we will deliberate about the rise of the India as well as rise of the institute. I will not take time, but I invite you also to provide your feedback and continued partnership, which we mean with you, and we invite your suggestions and inputs on this Rise India proposition. Thank you.
It's our proud privilege to call upon our distinguished leader, the President of the Institute and Chief Patron of this NCMAC 2026, whose foresight, commitment, and inspirational leadership continue to shape our academic and professional excellence. Please give a warm welcome and huge round of applause to CMA TCA Srinivasa Prasad, President of the Institute and Chief Patron of the NCMAC 2026, to address the gathering.
Vanakkam Coimbatore. Respected Sri Narayan Sethuraman sir, CMA Neeraj D. Joshi, Vice President ICMA, Chairman 63rd NCMAC 2026, CMA Manoj Kumar Anand, Council Member ICMAI, Convener 63rd NCMAC 2026, CMA Ashwin Dalwadi, former my President, Chairman Technical Committee, CMA Vijay Kiran Agastyaji, who is on the stage. Esteemed council members, former presidents, former SAFA president, I will have to mention our chief guest is here because of Mr. A.N. Raman. Thank you, sir. Distinguished guests, industry leaders, academicians, students, fellow professionals, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, namaskar and warm greetings to everyone present. It's with great pride and deep sense of purpose that the CMA fraternity gathers here in the industrious and innovation-driven city of Coimbatore. All of you know Coimbatore had an illustrious person who was a great innovator, G.D. Naidu. A city that truly symbolizes enterprise, resilience, and progress. This 63rd National Cost and Management Accountants Convention 2026 has been envisioned around a powerful national and professional mission which was being explained earlier by our Dalwadi sir. Rise India, reposition India and CMAs, intensify growth, strengthen competence, and enhance capabilities. The convention seeks to empower the profession for the next frontier, aligning our collective efforts with the national aspiration of Rise India, a future where India stands strong as a globally competitive, transparent, sustainable, and innovation-led economy. As we gather here to celebrate this momentous occasion, it is heartening to note that the goodwill and encouragement the Institute has received from various eminent personalities. It's a matter of great honor for this gathering that a gracious message of goodwill has been received from the Honorable Vice President of India. The Honorable Vice President has conveyed his warm greetings and best wishes to all the delegates, participants, and organizers of this event, and he has, this being his place, he has expressed his regret at not being able to join the occasion in person due to prior commitments when I met him personally at Vice President Enclave, and that he would certainly attend our program in future. So we thank our Honorable Vice President for this. Let us take a moment to have the thoughtful message received from the Honorable Vice President of India. I am pleased to know that the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, ICMAI, is organizing the 63rd National Cost and Management Accountants Convention, NCMAC 2026, at Coimbatore on the theme Rise India, Reposition India and CMAs, Intensify Growth, Strengthen Competence, and Enhance Capabilities from 9th to 11th January 2026. Since its inception in 1959, the Institute has played a vital role in promoting cost competitiveness, financial discipline, and good governance across industry and government. As the world's largest body of cost and management accountants, ICMAI continues to support nation building by fostering professional excellence and strengthening the foundations of a robust and globally competitive economy. The 63rd NCMAC 2026 provides a vital platform for thought leadership, professional dialogue, and knowledge sharing among practitioners, policymakers, industry leaders, academicians, and experts from diverse sectors. Such inclusive engagement is crucial for shaping progressive strategies and fostering equitable growth and will be vital to India's march towards Viksit Bharat 2047. I am confident that this convention will stimulate constructive dialogue and practical solutions. I extend my best wishes for the successful conduct of the 63rd National Cost and Management Accountants Convention and for the continued progress of the CMA community. The goodwill message from the Honorable Vice President of India has been received with deep gratitude. His kind wishes will continue to inspire us, the endeavors of all associated with the Institute. With these words of encouragement, the proceedings of the NCMAC shall now continue. Shri Harsh Malhotra, our minister, has also sent his wishes and blessings for this convention. India today is at an extraordinary moment of opportunity with structural reforms, digital transformation, manufacturing momentum, infrastructure expansion, sustainability imperatives, and increasing global confidence, the economic trajectory is set toward long-term growth. In this transformative era, cost and management's CMAs are architects, governance, enablers, performance, strategists, advocates of efficiency and transparency, and champions of sustainable and inclusive growth. To rise as a nation, the profession must rise in equal measure, in relevance, in capability, in credibility, and in strategic contribution. Repositioning India and CMAs in the world stage requires disciplined cost systems, robust analytics, strong financial stewardship, and evidence-based decision support. India's march towards 2047 calls for a renewed identity for the CMA profession, one rooted in thought leadership, policy engagement, and global recognition. Intensifying the growth, the coming decades provide unprecedented opportunities to CMAs to assume leadership roles in consulting, advisory, analytics, and strategic management. Rapid industrial expansion, digital transformation, capital-intensive infrastructure programs, and globalized supply chains require highly skilled cost strategies and performance leaders. Focus areas include consultancy, MDP models, and global professional firms, strategic partnership in MSMEs, startups, and Digital India initiatives, enhancing competitiveness through innovation and cost optimization, to name a few. On the strengthening competence and capability, as global business shifts towards digital and sustainable models, competence must evolve continuously. And the key focus areas, some of them: mastering AI, blockchain, data analytics and automation, leadership of integrated reporting, sustainability and climate finance, updates on ICMA reforms, CAASB standards and cost audit expansion, global benchmarking with leading management accounting bodies. Competence builds credibility, capability builds relevance. Both together shape trust. With regard to enhancing capabilities and manufacturing and service leadership sector, this covers critical sectorial capabilities: cost leadership in logistics, healthcare, energy, aviation, ports, telecom, new age costing for Industry 5.0 and smart manufacturing, lean operations, solvent recovery and energy optimization, strategic costing for IT, BFSI, e-commerce and service sectors. Here lies the hallmark strength of the CMA profession, integrating operations with finance to deliver measurable value. Over the next 3 days, thought leaders, policymakers, corporate leaders, scholars, and practitioners will deliberate, learn, and collaborate to shape the professional roadmap ahead. Technical sessions and CMA leaders meet are curated to generate actionable outcome and not just simple discussions. A special word of appreciation is due to the Convention Committee and other organizing committees of 63rd NCMAC 2026, the Southern India Regional Council, the Coimbatore chapter, officials of the Institute, and all dedicated volunteers for their tireless efforts in hosting this landmark convention. Gratitude is also extended to our esteemed speakers, partners from government and industry, sponsors, and each participant, each one of you whose presence enriches everybody participating. Let this 63rd NCMAC 2026 become a platform for renewed purpose, a forum for bold ideas, a catalyst for professional excellence, and a step forward in India's journey toward becoming a developed nation. May the CMA fraternity continue to serve the nation with competence, integrity, innovation, and commitment. Wishing all participants meaningful deliberations and a highly successful convention with a comfortable stay at this beautiful city. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. As a part of today's proceedings, we have the pleasure of unveiling the technical guide on cost management in healthcare services. May I now kindly invite our esteemed dignitaries on the dais to grace this moment by releasing the publication. Let us all witness this special occasion together. This technical guide on cost management in healthcare services, developed by the Cost Accounting Standard Board of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, provides a comprehensive framework for understanding and implementing effective cost management strategies in the healthcare sector. It dwells into various aspects of healthcare costing, including cost allocation practices, revenue and expenditure streams, industry trends, regulatory approaches, and global practices. Thank you, dignitaries.
It's an honor for me to introduce our chief guest for this momentous occasion, Sri Narayan Sethuraman, Managing Director, Sanma Engineering Technologies Private Limited. Sri Narayan Sethuraman is a highly accomplished business leader with extensive global experience across engineering and manufacturing. He currently oversees the Sanma Group's steel casting and specialized wall manufacturing operations across India, the United States, and Mexico. And he has played a pivotal role in expanding the group's international presence while driving innovation and sustainability in engineering solutions. Over the course of his distinguished career, he has held several senior leadership positions, including President and Chief Executive Officer of the McLean Asia Pacific, Managing Director and CEO of WS Industries India Limited, and Managing Director of Hydro SNS Industries Limited. His leadership has consistently contributed to operational excellence, strategic growth, and global competitiveness. Beyond corporate leadership, Sri Narayan Sethuraman has made significant contributions to the industry and policy advocacy. He currently serves as the co-chairman of the CII International Council and the CII Trade Policy Council, and is a member of several national and sectoral council of the Confederation of Indian Industry. His past leadership roles include serving as a chairman of CII Tamil Nadu, National Chairman of CII Young Indians, and Chairman of the CII Total Cost Management Cell. With his deep expertise in global operations, strategic business development, manufacturing excellence, and leadership development, Sri Narayan Sethuraman continues to be a respected voice in industry and nation building. We are honored to have you with us today as our chief guest, sir. Through innovation and integrity, the enterprise he has set benchmarks of excellence and contributed significantly to the nation's growth. The stage is yours, sir. Thank you.
Where do you want me to? That's when I wrote it. Esteemed dignitaries on the dais, Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I thought at 4:15 on a Friday afternoon, I was wondering what the mood of the audience is going to be, but I'll try to make this as informative and educational as possible. And first of all, I'd like to thank the esteemed dignitaries here for inviting me to address all of you this afternoon. You know, it takes me back many years. In fact, I was one of the people who were part of the founding group of the the CII Total Cost Management Cell way back in 1998. So it's about 27 years, and after that, you know, we did quite a few of the Cost Congress events, and also I had the privilege of presenting 2 case studies in the Harvard Business School in Boston in 2001, where we actually addressed the entire MBA class with a couple of Indian case studies. So, you know, I was in preparing for this session, I actually went to some of those presentations, and I was struck by quite a few things have not changed over the last 24 years when it comes to basics. And obviously quite a few things have changed, whether it's the role of technology, its speed of operations, etc. It's great that this event is happening in Coimbatore, and you know, this is a city, as Shri Srinivas Prasad said, that it's a city of innovation, it's a city of entrepreneurship, it's a beautiful city, and I think the C stands for Coimbatore and C stands for competitiveness, which is one of the themes of this today's event. I have a twin privilege or twin qualification, I would say, in speaking today, because the early part of my career, I spent quite a bit of time in doing activity-based costing, activity-based management. So while I'm not a cost accountant, I can say that I have deep dived into the subject quite a bit over several years. And today, sitting in the CXO office, you know, it gives you both another perspective, as well as the demand for data, demand for performance, demand for support, and I'll touch upon it as I go along. You know, it's great. Cost management is a subject it's after my own heart, and when I was invited to speak today, so I thought what I will do is have about 30 minutes, and so in this, I was particularly impressed by the conference that the committee has done a splendid job in putting together, because nowadays, you know, and no offense to any of the consultants here, but consultants typically tend to talk about resilience, perseverance, profitable growth, etc. But I think the committee made it very simple in calling it reposition, intensify, strengthen, and enhance. I think that is really what, you know, it's when you say going back to basics, I think you started with basic terms. And so what I will talk about is building from this theme of reposition, intensify, strengthen, and enhance. And as I said, I believe it's synonymous with resilience, perseverance. How do we use cost management as a strategy, which is of interest to all of you here? So over the next 30 minutes, what I'll do is that I'll cover what is total cost management from a leadership perspective. Why is it ETC required? I mean, we all know why it's required, but I'll give you some perspective. TCM in the artificial intelligence age. What do I see as the role of cost professionals? and then a final conclusion. So basically, I redefine this, and please indulge me here, in saying that TCM is a management tool which can be adopted by any business to enable it to reposition, intensify, strengthen, and enhance. The theme of your conference. And we'll get into how we go about it. But in short, it's about getting businesses to get competitive, build resilience, and advance on a path to profitable growth. Why is TCM necessary? We all know that today we live in a VUCA world. India is the land of opportunity. All the earlier speakers alluded to the land of opportunity. But, the problem with opportunity is that sometimes it tends to make people reckless. And I think it's very important that, as a country, as responsible leaders in corporates or in government, whichever may be your field, it is important at this point in time to keep a sane head and stay mature, stay grounded. In fact, I would say stay grounded is probably the most important term that I would use. Again, India, the global startup capital. I sometimes worry when people talk about terms like, they talk about cash burn at startups or in technology companies as it's almost a virtue. And I know that I think all of us will agree that cash burn is never a virtue. And again, I see cost management professionals again playing an advisory role, a guidance role, a leading role, even at startups. So while keeping the spirit of innovation, keeping that spirit of entrepreneurship, keeping that spirit of wanting rapid growth, at the same time, startups also is important that we stay grounded. We have an uncertain geopolitical climate and a lot of trade distorting actions. I'm sure everybody has seen the headlines today about a potential 500% tariff, and we never heard terms like this till the beginning of 2025, right? 500% tariff, 50% tariff, fentanyl tariff, all these terms, we never heard it till 2025. So there are a lot of trade distorting actions going on today. The world is, truly becoming a more uncertain place. I know that, when it comes to wage inflation, yes, you will hear theories on the fact that wage inflation in India has been low over the last few years, but I think that if you look at, many people here from other organizations, and if you will, we have to benchmark ourselves against our neighboring countries in Southeast Asia, whether it's Vietnam, whether it's Thailand, whether it's Cambodia, whether it's Korea, which is a most advanced country, and many other countries in the world. And it is a fair statement to say that annual wage inflation here is higher than many other parts of the world. Now, the important aspect here is that is it accompanied by the corresponding or even higher rise in productivity? I think that is a question mark. And therefore, the next statement that I have, which is, if you don't have the necessary increase in productivity, over a period of time, you're going to have lack of adequate skills at competitive costs. When you start having a demand-supply imbalance, you will start, and people start competing for that talent. You will reach a stage where costs of, start becoming uncompetitive. We have to look at global cost, and they say that a Shishya always has to obey the Guru. So when he said that you have to speak here, I couldn't say no to him. So, very happy that he's here today. And and the way we practiced it, the fundamental aspect is that it's a tool which enables deep diving. One of the concerns I have as a leader of organizations is that there's not enough deep diving, yes, you have all the data analytics you want, you have, all that is great, but do people actually sit down and the data, deep dive into the data, look behind the data to see what is it telling? I would say that it leaves a lot to be decided, and discuss this with industry counterparts, industry peers, industry colleagues, and by and large, many of us have the same concern. It's important that we understand that cost is a process and cost is not an outcome. And that's another reason why total cost management is very essential in organizations. And why do I say that cost is a process? Because, you're sitting in the foundry capital of India. Now, if somebody tells you here that my cost per ton is X, that cost per ton is not just happening. It's happening because of the man hours per ton of productivity. It's because of the weld rods being used. It's because of the yield in the process. It's because of the scrap being used. It's a total process, and it's important that we recognize that and manage cost as a process. And therefore, cost leadership to build resilience becomes critical. If we look at strategies, there was a lot of conversation about strategies, and conventionally, if you look at different companies, follow different strategies. Some follow a strategy of saying, I will get dominant market share. I think we've all learnt about, especially there's been a lot of talks about airlines having dominant market share in the recent past. Some want to be a technology leader. Some want to be a new product innovator, constantly bringing in new products into the market. Some want to be a leader in ESG and use that as a source of competitive advantage. That becomes very important. For example, today when you're talking of de-risking and diversifying markets, if you want to become a big exporter to Europe, or you want to retain your position as a major exporter to Europe, ESG becomes a major tool and a major source of competitive advantage. Okay, I'm sorry.
So we are not running away.
Don't worry, no problem. So some look at being intensely competitive as a strategy. For example, if you take the companies in China, many of them look at first going and completely taking over a market, and then so competition and being intensely competitive is a strategy. Quality can be a strategy, and cost leadership is definitely a strategy. But let's understand, and when I talked about the fact that some things haven't changed from 2001, certain realities don't change. Resilient companies who are there for the long term, I see 4 primary characteristics. 4 primary characteristics are their products are globally competitive. You constantly benchmark, you're constantly looking at your competitive situation versus global competition. Live and breathe ESG, and this I think is true in the day, it becomes even more important in the days to come. Products cannot be replaced by imports. I think, I am on a couple of Government of India task forces where we're actually working on looking at how do we risk mitigate imports? Where is India vulnerable to imports? We look at, that is something that the government is also very focused on, and industry is also very focused on. And the products cannot be rendered obsolete by technology. So, if I look at the future and say, what does the future hold? I think it's important to recognize that strategic initiatives, we will, all of us in our daily lives, we will continue to take strategic initiatives in the area of marketing. And when I say marketing, it's not just sales, it's marketing also, and especially marketing. Technology, we will be continuously doing process and product innovation. You will be coming out with new products. There will be strategies for ESG. There will be digital and AI initiatives that are taking and will take. They're all critical, but my opinion is that these initiatives should be driven by impact on cost and competitiveness of the respective organization. At the end of the day, how competitive is your product or service, and how do you see that position? We have to get into predictive competitiveness. just very quickly, I'll take minutes. If you look at the of cost, and all of you know this, that 60s, 70s, profit was selling price. Then 80s, 90s, we said selling price is a given, cost is a given, and profit is a derived number or the resultant number. But then organizations started evolving to saying that I need a desired profit. My selling price is given, it's determined by the market and by competition, and therefore I need to work towards a target cost. And I think that position really hasn't changed too much. There are different tools that we are using to reach the target cost today, including use of AI, use of technology, etc. But broadly, I think in terms of the paradigm shift, this paradigm, the third paradigm, is where I would say that broadly we are today. I presume most of you agree on that. That's really where we are today. So, going, I believe that, cost drive positioning. Costs are not just accounting. They drive where you position yourself, which markets you position yourself, where in the supply chain you position yourself. Do I need to backward integrate? Do I need to forward integrate? Do I need to build up scale? So that whole positioning is driven by cost. And actually, be constantly thinking about the future. We should actually be, I feel that future-oriented cost management is actually management of resilience and growth. All organizations have to grow. And in the opportunity that we have in India today, we have to keep growing faster. I mean, I would say that double-digit growth is a norm. It's not an aspiration anymore. And therefore, whatever we do in terms of strategic moves, whether it's mergers, whether it's acquisitions, whether it's technology pivots, whether it's workforce redesign, whether it's, and they're very often strategic cost decisions. And that's the way I look at it. So in all this, why do we feel an institutionalized structure for total cost management is required? Historically, cost has been seen as an accounting domain. And I think that's completely not right. That needs to be changed. A lot of archaic practices have existed. I think many of you have skillfully replaced already, but it's a journey. We need to keep going down that journey. And this is where it's very important that let's understand that Indian industry is still, there's a large number of MSMEs, there's a large number of SMEs. They may not be as evolved as some of the larger companies are, but they are leaders in their own right. I mean, I enjoy going around Coimbatore, one city where I constantly keep visiting my vendors. And the reason I keep visiting my vendors is that because I see in that entrepreneur, where it could be a 15 crore a year, it could be 50 crores a year, it could be a 40 crore a year organization. But that spirit to constantly keep moving forward, whether it's in terms of the technology, whether it's in terms of work practices, the fact, keeping themselves competitive, that desire is there. But they also need support. They need support in terms of things like cost management practices, this is where, and India will continue to remain a significant part of our industry will continue to be MSME and SME. There's nothing wrong in that. I mean, Germany, which is now the country which we are after to replace as the third largest economy, there's still a lot of their industry is SMEs and MSMEs. So, and that I think is actually the backbone, and it actually gives strength to the Indian economy as well as the India as a country in terms of employment and more. We will need greater scale in future. We will need greater scale, and we must, because that scale gives you a little bit of flexibility. It gives you that ability to, take certain bold initiatives and look at it, use that as a roadmap for mobility. And I would also say that, there has to be constant learning in the organization. You will see as I go through the next few slides, the cost management actually touches every bit of the organization. It's not restricted to just the finance domain or just the operations domain. It's everywhere in the organization, and it touches every bit of it. And therefore, a culture for sharing best practices is like in everything else that the organization does is essential. Just some historical approaches to total cost management. The first was, the old Japanese X matrix model. I don't know if many of you have heard of it, but that was really the first model of TCM. Where the total cost management really got a big fillip was when Robert Kaplan started talking about it as he was evolving and implementing his balanced scorecard. And obviously there are some specific models. I'm not going to spend too much time on the X matrix, just can be considered as a Japanese model of TCM. Companies here who implement TQM, TPM have been working with Japanese consultants here, etc. You would have actually an X matrix, you would have been actually implementing it, because it's nothing but an annual business plan, and then clearly shows how targets and resources are linked to it and linked to policy. Coming to the balanced scorecard, and like I said, giving all courtesy Dr. Robert Kaplan, it provides a framework, and it's very relevant even today, to build strategy-focused organizations. It really tells the story of an organization strategy, but, I'll come to it in the next couple of slides. It doesn't stop there. It takes that strategy right down. And it makes strategy everyone's everyday job, very simply put. It provides measurements for internal business processes, helps to manage customer profitability. I'm sure, if you practice activity-based management or customer segment profitability, you can do individual customer profitability, and you can actually take it to a level where you just don't look at variable costs, you look at actually converting a lot of the so-called historical semi-variable costs into variable costs. And most importantly, it provides a rigorous review mechanism. I think all of us know that today, what doesn't get reviewed doesn't get managed. So the balanced scorecard actually provides a perfect platform for it. Simply put, if you look at all the initiatives that an organization takes, starting with mission, values, vision, strategy, and then that's where the gap was. In terms of, at the shop floor levels, you start taking total quality management initiatives, you could be taking TPM initiatives, you could be doing some form of lean, and then that in turn links to your KRAs, your KPIs, your personal objectives in terms of what do you do, how do you get measured, etc. But there is that gap which was there. And if you look at that, that's really where the balanced scorecard comes in, because that translates, focuses, aligns, and tells you what are the priorities and then what are your outcomes. Whether it's stakeholders, delighted stakeholders, satisfied stakeholders, efficient processes, and again, your workforce is again a stakeholder. So, if going into it a little bit more, the reason I'm focusing a little bit on the balanced scorecard is because it's a good model of TCM. If you look at total cost management and you look at, do I need to get my hands around a tool? This is a good tool which you could use. Obviously there are other tools and there are other company specific models, but just wanted to, given the amount of literature and the amount of practice that is there in industry today, the balanced scorecard is, you can see there that a good tool to translate operations, strategy to operations, align organization, mobilize change, make strategy everyone's job, and make strategy a continual process. These are the things that we talk about every day in our organizations, and the tool provides an option for it. And I'm not going to, there's a lot of content on this slide, I'm just going to not go into all of it, but just tells you that you can actually go into learning and growth, internal perspective, a customer perspective, a financial perspective, and at every place. But what I want to leave with you as cost management professionals is not the tool itself, is to say that actually as cost professionals, you should be looking at every area in great detail, and you have the unique ability, you are uniquely positioned to actually do all of this in your respective organizations. That's really the thought that I want to leave with every one of you who are here today. So, so if you look at components, basically you're looking at cost of resources, you're looking at efficiency and effectiveness, and appropriate methodologies for the competitiveness of the business with a view to achieve a long-term cost leadership. If you want to look at a company-specific model, and I'm just putting an example of something that I practiced many years ago, was where we actually had an activity-based management implementation, and this tells you how it was practiced. You have the goals and strategies, then we had a massive implementation of ABC across every facet of the organization, and that became the foundation for strategic planning, for all your continuous improvement exercise activities. You actually had a lot of cost improvement projects. Then, some cases you had to do a mega and radical redesign. So that's where BPR came in. And again, financial and performance management, constant measurement, constant data analytics, and from there going on to which segments should we be in, which products we should be in, product and customer management, measuring customer profitability, and for all of this, the IT enablers which are required. And that is truly the backbone. So moving on to the next part of my talk, which is total cost management in the technology age. I actually see it as cost accounting to cost intelligence. I mean, we've talked about cost accounting, we talked about cost management. I think the next step really down this, if you move down this path, is really cost intelligence. And what do I mean by cost intelligence? Looking at, traditionally it was historical. You had your post-mortem reports in terms of, for the last month, how did we do, what is this, etc. And there were a lot of decisions which were actually reactive. From there, moving to real time, all the data analytics and AI tools that you have with all that you have today. Next, going to predictive. You should be able to predict your cost position and say that 1 year from now, this is what I think each of these costs will look like. And based on that, be proactive in decision making. How are artificial intelligence and technology transforming cost management? First and foremost, as I mentioned, I think the getting into predictive costing mode. And obviously in a VUCA world, prediction is protection. And if you're not, we have to be able to predict. And robotic process automation, I was, in fact, this is my second trip to Coimbatore this week, and I was here for early part of the week also. And if you go around and even go to MSMEs and SMEs, you will see robo cells being implemented, installed. They're either used or under implementation. I mean, this is, I'm really very happy that the committee took the decision to have this national convention in Coimbatore. This is a city where entrepreneurship is thriving, and I would really recommend and suggest that in addition to everything else you do, take the opportunity to go visit some of the small or mid-sized enterprises here. Obviously the large enterprises are there, but you will see entrepreneurship, you will see innovation, you will see process innovation, you will see product innovation at a scale, which is really, I mean, it motivates you, it makes you proud to be Indian if you go around the factories of Coimbatore. And just to set the record straight, I'm a Madrasi, but this is a city I respect, I appreciate, and admire, and the people and the business people here. Using technology and using AI and using using IoT and real-time feedback loops and things like that. We can look at getting into asset-light strategies. Yesterday, someone was showing me a wonderful tool that they've developed, where actually what happens is the communication between them and the customer, they've made it completely paperless. They do the inspection, upload the reports go direct into the customer's portal, clearance is given electronically, products are shipped. There's no paper flowing at all. And the seamless manner in which some of these processes are being implemented is really fantastic. AI and digital would lead to more lean processes. It would look at more intelligent pricing and faster decision making. Fundamentally, I think technology doesn't just reduce costs. It decides who survives, who scales up, and who leads ultimately. What do I see as the role of all of you in this room? I see, and again here, depending on where in your career you are, some of these statements would change. But let's say, you start as a cost tracker. I would say that you should move to becoming a cost architect. Actually in your organizations, working closely with the CEO and the leadership team, and actually developing and designing what should be the cost that should be incurred at each stage. Moving from being a variance tracker to a data interpreter and a decision facilitator. I would again say that here, and this is also in terms of speed, in terms of, truly becoming a partner in leadership to the CEO of the organization is what I see the evolving role of cost management professionals. And I would also look at, in the same vein, I would make the statement as accounting to strategic advisor. So, for all this to happen, what do I see as the enablers for success? Combine, all of you have domain expertise and plenty of it. Combine it with data fluency. Like I said, the deep dives. You should become the leaders and facilitators of data deep dives in your organization. Understand business models, not just budgets. Go behind the numbers. Challenge what's in it. Again, I'll go back to my foundry example and say that why should this be the man hours per ton? If I need this cost, I need this man hours per ton. Design for it, challenge people, work with them, help them, but make sure that it is achieved. Or this should be the well-wrought consumption or whatever. It can and finally translate insights into strategic choice. So in summary, for a TCM strategy to be successful, I would say that the key elements are focus on resiliency, value creation. You can keep hammering away at the term value creation. You hear value chains. You hear, it's very, very important that stakeholder value creation is focused upon, supported by the right IT and AI backbone. Whatever it is, whether it's SAP, whether it's Oracle, whatever it is, but supported, maybe in some cases custom-driven software patches built on top of an existing ERP, whatever it is. Promote deep dive and analytics. This is very important for our success, ladies and gentlemen, going forward. Promote everything deep dive, that's very, very important. Don't be in a hurry to take decisions. You have to take decisions fast, but that deep dive needs to happen. Enable speed and preserve value with appropriate risk management. So, with this, I will say that I'm very happy to be here. It's been, as I said, a little bit of going back memory lane, but cost management is a subject after my own heart. And I really hope that you all have a good convention and go back and truly become cost architects, cost leaders, and strategic advisors in your respective organizations or whomever you're working with, etc. Wish you all the best for your convention, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. As we draw the curtains on this enriching inaugural session, we have the distinct privilege of expressing our sincere gratitude to all those whose august presence and valuable contributions will make the 63rd National Cost and Management Accountants Convention a resounding success. To conclude this inspiring session, I'm pleased to invite a leader whose enthusiasm is contagious, whose charisma energizes every gathering, the chairman of SIRC. May I please have the pleasure of inviting CMA Vijay Kiran Agastya, Chairman SIRC of the Institute and Co-Chairman of the National Cost and Management Accountants Convention to deliver the word of thanks. Let's give a big round of applause for CMA Vijay Kiran Agastya.
Indu, you are such a wonderful anchor. Anybody speaks after you, it's going to be a trepidation for them. And upon that, you add so many adjectives to increase the nervousness for me. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What a wonderful inaugural session that we have. A very clear vision that was articulated by our leaders on the dais. To begin with, our very own famous opening batsman, M.K. Anandji. Opening batsmen are always known to deliver cameos, very quick run rate in a short period of time, which is what he has done in introducing the theme to us. Those of us who work very closely with him know that he's a man with few words, but a man with a lot of action. Thank you for your opening introduction of the theme, sir. We had Neeraj Dhananjay Joshi ji, who has shared the vision of our institute. He has touched upon the geopolitical situation and how is it impacting us, and also the fact that RISE is an apt theme given that we are in a VUCA world. He has also touched upon AI, the impact of that, and most important takeaway according to me is that we need to shift focus towards consulting. Very key takeaways from you, Neeraj Dhananjay Joshi ji. Thank you very much for your words, sir. We then had Ashwin Dalwadi ji, our past president, who talked about how ICMAI Vision 2047 was drafted with the consultation of IIM Ahmedabad. The key highlights that I could take are the fact that we should lead towards becoming a distinct professional. We should have the distinct professional identity as we head in this journey and lead towards 16.5 lakh CMA professionals, a huge target, and I think each one of us play a very vital role in achieving that target. Thank you so much, Ashwin sir. With a extraordinary voice modulation, our very own president, CMA TCA Srinivas Prasad ji, he has read out his message for all of us today, and he also had the grace of reading out the message of Vice President Sri C.P. Radhakrishnan ji. Thank you very much, sir. Your voice is always as amazing as we hear. Narayanan Seturaman sir, what a wonderful talk, sir. We cost and management accountants are now listening from a business industry expert about our own concepts in such an extraordinary way. It was such a delight to see the expertise that you have in an area that we are all passionate about. Touched upon so many things, including cost competitiveness, total cost management, couple of things that he said, a total no, complacency. India as a nation is a land of opportunity but cannot be complacent, and we cannot allow cash burns to continue. There has to be profitability. He did touch upon that innovation and enterprise needs to be the focus. And sir, the way you explained stuff such as cost intelligence, balanced scorecard, it was going back to college and listening to some of the best professors that we had. Thank you so much for all the wonderful messages. One thing, a highlight, sir, you talked about certain realities don't change. It reminded me of Jeff Bezos, who often says, businessmen end up looking at what is going to change in the future, but if we focus on what does not change in the next 10 years, I think we can build our strategies much more, rationally. Thank you very much for reminding us of that, sir. I also would like to thank all the council members who have flew down from various parts of the country to be a part of the National Cost and Management Accountant Convention 2026. A galaxy, truly a galaxy of past presidents who are here with us today. Shri A.N. Ramanji, past President SAFA, all the past SIRC chairman and management committee members of all the regions and chapters, friends from media, and my dear CMA members who are all here. Thank you so much for gracing today's occasion. We also had the great opportunity of the release of technical guide on cost management in health services. I hope members will take the advantage of the guide that was shared. To conclude, I would like to say that the hegemony of United States seems to be fading off. And I think it's an opportunity for a country like India. I know they did pull a trigger in Venezuela. We do not know what it means to the rest of the world. But if we go back to 1991, liberalization days, India was an economy of GDP of 295 million. Today, we are close to 4 trillion economy. So 295 to 4 trillion, if it was possible, 30 trillion is definitely a possibility in 2047. Let us rise as cost and management accountants and help the nation race towards Vikasit Bharat. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. And it's time to freeze the moment. To capture this moment of unity and celebration, may I invite all of you on the dais to join together for a group photograph. Let your smile shine bright, because this frame will remind us not just of today, but of this passion, unity and pride we share. And yes, this is a moment where everyone looks their best. So please give your most confident smile.
Thank you, dignitaries. At this moment, let us pay tribute to our nation. I request everyone to please rise for the national anthem.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda items are tea, coffee, and smiles. Yes, it's refreshment break time before you ask for. Attendance is strongly recommended. The plenary session on Rise India will begin shortly after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, may I request all the delegates to please assemble in other 15 minutes so we can proceed promptly for the commencement of the plenary session. The refreshments are arranged beside the hall. I repeat, please head towards the refreshment area beside the hall where treats are waiting for you. Thank you. round of applause to the dignitaries on the dais. I would like to request CMA Bibhuti Bhushan Nayak, Council Member ICMAI, along with CMA Mihir Vyas, Chairman WIRC, to present the memento to CMA Parthasarathy Tiruvengudam, Chairman of the session. Let's put our hands together for the chairman of the session. I would like to request CMA Bibhuti Bhushan Nayak, Council Member of the Institute, along with CMA Mihir Vyas, Chairman of WIRC, to present a memento to Shri K. Ilango, our Honorable Speaker of this session. A big round of applause for the speaker. Thank you, dignitaries. I may now request CMA Bibhuti Bhushan Nayak, immediate former President and Council Member ICAI, to render the welcome address.
Namaskar. Good evening. This is the plenary session after inaugural session, very painful. It is already late. We are running short of time also. So I welcome CMA Parthasarathy sir and Sri K. Ilango, our two brilliant speakers on this plenary session. And also, once again, I am glad to welcome all my participants, chapter representative, regional representative, and former president, and my council colleague, and other corporate delegates. Mayor Vyas ji and Chairman WIRC, I welcome you. I am excited from the deliberation of inaugural session by our chief guest that befitting to our theme Rise India, and also presentation by Dalwadi ji, that vision document, draft vision document of IIM under the directive of Government of India that our institute is taking steps we are ready to face the challenge of transformation due to this Vision 2047. Institute also going for transformation only to face the challenges of Viksit Bharat 2047. I want to disclose one fact before all my honorable members. Institute or our profession needs transformation. We all are the present here, all professionals, CMA professionals, mostly coming from three generations. First generation, that is after independence, 47 to 64, generally baby boomers. Then 65 to 80, generation X, sir. Millionaires, 81 to 96. Presently, just they are acting, reacting, and contributing for nation building. Mostly, the major capital of India, that means youth mass, that is Gen Z. But this theme and Vision 2047, Institute is taking preparation for contributing or making strategy for our next generation, that means generation Alpha and Beta, which will continue up to 2039. It is predicted that 2012 to 2025, generation Alpha, they are just their birth stage, childhood. They are coming for contribution of our nation development. So accordingly, everything is changing and developing. So CMA is also going for transformation, that our chairman study, Vinayji, and our council mainly has taken decision for transformation of our course curriculum. Why I am speaking? Because it is the platform to give information to my honorable members, practitioners and corporate leaders and former president also, that we are going to restructure, reforming or modifying, introducing the new syllabus 2026. Majorly, it will be based on practical oriented workshop classes along with theoretical concept. The course is designed like this. It is necessary. Another news, today news, Government of India is going to finalize in this month to declare NCRT as deemed university. NCRT was preparing the study material. Now NCRT will impact practical-oriented study pattern in India. They are going to introduce, and government already going to approve this month. That means somebody is securing 50%, 80%, 90%, there will no difference. It will not create difference whether he will be employable or not, but their credit point will be counted, in which field he is expert. So, keeping in this view, I am also extending my thanks to President, Vice President choosing this topic, this Rise India, which is befitting need of the hour, discuss and to prepare our vision statement. Thank you very much. And lot of takeaway you all will take. Please wait for further 2 days. Technical sessions are there. Again, I am welcoming two brilliant speakers in this plenary session. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you, sir. Now I request CMA Parthasarathi Thiruvengadam, former Senior Director of Deloitte India Private Limited, to take charge of the session.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and I'm really not going to chair the session. I'm going to be fairly technical and get into the details about what we need to cover as a CMA member. It's always a pleasure to be in any CMA convention. I've been doing that for many years, and it's always a, I would say, emotional connect and something which I really enjoy. And today, looking at a large number of members, our members, I'm extremely honored and privileged to be here. And also, Mr. Ilango being there in this part of the session, I think will add a lot of value. He's going to look at the profession from an external perspective, and that's going to help. I'll do a little more of internal perspective, and that's what the council and all the other senior members told me, and it's also a pleasure and privilege to be today here with all the past presidents, so many of them, and many council members who've really done tremendous amount of work to create the institute and place the institute where it is. Under no circumstances would I ever agree or accept an argument that the institute has not done well, the institute could be this. I'm a member who does not believe, who does not accept that at all. We've had great growth, and I'm sure we have our people are making a huge difference in the businesses. I'll talk a little bit about the stakeholders. I'll also talk about the CMA as a professional and in the context of RISE, because this is a methodology, a process, a future, a protocol that's been discussed and suggested by a very reputed external agency, and I'm sure it's going to make a huge difference to the institute for its future, and in alignment with what the country is going to do and how it's going to go. This is a plenary session. The plenary session is supposed to be a session where everyone is supposed to be present. In any conference, the word plenary, as per the dictionary and so on, says that everybody will be present in the room, and then you may have committees, you may have breakout sessions and so on and so on. And the idea of a plenary session is to inspire the audience and set the team. I'm no way qualified to do that, but at least I'll try to do a little bit of those inspirational part of the institute where we want to be and where we are, and how are we going to achieve that as a professional. So the entire 15-20 minutes of my discussion is going to be on the idea of CMA member professional making a difference under the broad category of RISE, RISE. Every one of those words is phenomenal. As a person who has been in consulting profession for 40+ years, full-time, 6 days a week at least, and that has really made a huge difference in terms of coming up with acronyms, words, letters to represent bigger ideas and so on. So do not feel, oh, RISE, why is this, and so on. It has deep meaning. My request will be in the 1.5 to 2 days that we are going to be all here, absorb what this means and practice it in our own way. And the institute and all the eminent people in the institute will ensure that enough inputs and guidance will be available to all of us as we go forward in our profession. And I'm very confident that it will happen and it will make a huge difference. I have also worked as an outsider, as a consultant with professional bodies, as a consultant to a fairly large international business body. The question is how much a professional body can do on its own, and how much a professional should do who is a member of that profession is a very, very tricky thing. Whenever you do surveys, whenever you ask, I'm sure we can do a survey here also, we ask our members, do you think the institute is doing enough for you? You will have an answer for it. And we ask the institute, the people who managed it for many years, we have very eminent people who have been involved in the institute and the management of the institute for such a long period. They would give you a different answer. They may give you a different answer. So the idea in a rediscovering our motive, rediscovering our principles, our future, our vision, this is a critical point. Where are we, and where are the members thinking of the institute as? This is one side of the story. I'll try to answer that in a manner which will help us going forward. The stakeholders in a business, let's take India as a, for the current being, we are really talking about Vikasit Bharat and going forward and so on. We need to look at the country. So major stakeholder is the country, and the country is citizens looking at a particular profession. We have made a mark. There is a mark the profession has, and that mark has got certain meaning, certain applications, certain expectations in the minds of all the citizens. Then comes another stakeholder who is a very important stakeholder, actually who drives our business, our profession in a very, very significant manner, which is the government. The government, the policies and all of those things, which includes all the legislature and the judiciary and the government, everything, all of these contribute to driving what our profession is supposed to do. For example, I'll give you a simple example. A lot of regulations are released by the government from time to time. Many of these regulations create a system by which certain work needs to be done. And that work can go to different types of professionals. It may be engineers, it may be chartered accountants, it may be secretaries, it may be cost and management accountants, different kinds of people. So all these people, the stakeholder is the government, he drives it. And you have the business. The business is a user of these services. These businesses have an expectation of what they want, either because of the regulation or because of the like Mr. Narayan mentioned in the session, as to the kind of work that has been done in each and every industry, each and every business. So the business people, the businessmen, the managers have an expectation of what the profession should be. These are just a few, 4 or 5 stakeholders, but there are many more. Today, talent is also a stakeholder. When I say talent, I'm talking about the human being. A very large number, in India especially, we have a very, very significant younger population. And this younger population is needed. If you go and ask, I'm sure all of you are coming from different types of businesses, mining, power, steel, cement, sugar, whatever, banking, all kinds of businesses. You go and ask, one of the most significant factors today in India is a problem related to talent, the availability of the current talent, correct talent, and also its usage in the businesses. We have very large number of gig workers, very large. We created it 2021, it became, and it's huge today, runs into, as per the recent surveys and so on, more than 6 million independent gig workers. But is that the right thing for the economy? We don't have an answer for it. We do not know. But it's actually happened. That means people from the age of 21 to 28, 30, they're all extremely well in the sense, not economically, but in terms of time, they are utilized and they're doing certain things. But is that what a stakeholder wants, the businesses, or maybe the businesses want to some extent? But in the longer term, are we having enough people in the machine shops, in the welding shops, and so on? We don't know whether it has relationship to this. And these are the types of expectations of a profession or of an institute that the stakeholders have. So now, once we understand what the stakeholders are, let's look at what the institute is trying to do in terms of meeting the needs of the stakeholders. These RISE, if you look at it specifically, one of the key things that we have to be doing is repositioning. The repositioning is, when I say repositioning, to make it simpler, we need to position ourselves in a manner and in the requirements which will maximize our abilities and also what is possible to all the stakeholders. If including us as a stakeholder, if you look at this, the repositioning is going to make a huge difference. It's going to make it's going to be a different dimension. I'll tell you a simple example of how this works. If you call yourself a cost accountant, if you call yourself a cost and management accountant, and you go and apply for a job, and you're evaluated at that time, at the initial stage, you are evaluated for a certain technical knowledge of, let's say, costing methods, and so on and so forth. But 5 years down the line, if you're in the same company, that has no meaning at all. 5 years later, it's a combination of the individual professional, the capabilities that the individual professional has developed and absorbed, and how that is going to work, and that person becomes a CEO or grows in the organization, doesn't grow on the organization, has a medium type of career life. All of these are possible, and the qualification and the title is no longer the most important driver. And this is one of the key points that you will have to remember when you are trying to build this repositioning. The repositioning is a the combination of what you are and what the institute is and what the institute believes that the members are, and how the combination of that will result in the institute membership being fully utilized. You take the example again. If you look at the past, Mr. Naik was mentioning about the past generations of CMAs and so on. We've had a significant impact because the public sector, as a general rule, public sector and government gave a phenomenal opening and opportunity. I'm sure many of our members are very, very senior position they've held in public sector and government, because that was the meeting the regulations and ensuring that such people are taken in. Once they're taken in and driven by a hierarchical kind of an organization, these people grew and they reached, and if you remember, and there was actually a statistical check a few years back, I remember, where we checked how many CMAs had reached the position of Director of Finance and so on of public sector organizations and so on. Similarly, in senior positions in government. And so, if you look at that, after some time, the professional title or the professional engagement is not going to matter. So, what the institute and our external help also has indicated is, how do we reposition? When we reposition ourselves, it is not just the kind of training and so on. Into an architect, into somebody who delivers value. We have used this word value very easily, but it has so many different meanings to an outsider. In consulting, for example, we have extensively been involved. I've been in the kind of organization I worked with, a larger international kind of consulting organization. The qualifications matter very limited. What gets delivered is what is important. So the repositioning has to be something the institute can also drive. How does it drive? That's something part of the institute's initiative. It's going to be by the kind of training, the level of training, and the acceleration of this training over a period of time for our professionals. So a professional who's been a member, what is the level of training, what's the level of exposure that the institute is able to provide? After some time, the professional is not really looking for great support from the institute. I know a very large number of CMAs who just are comfortable paying the fees, and that's about all, the membership fees, that's about all. They connect, and how many of them attend conventions, for example, you can check, all of your colleagues are there, thousands of them, and you will know the real percentage of people who are actively involved in what the institute does and what the institute today, because of the technology era and the information sharing, we get so much of information from the institute. I'm sure all of you are getting. How many of you are actually sitting down and reading it? How many of you are utilizing it in the activities that you're supposed to be doing? Very few. I do not know, but I try to my best, but I would think that I'm in the region of 18–20% of what the information comes, usage of that, even though I'm actively involved in what I'm trying to do. So the repositioning is going to be a very significant thing where the professional and the profession, both of these. So make a distinction. The individual professional who has knowledge, who has skills, who has experience, irrespective of the kind of exposure. Actually, if you ask me, many people have mentioned about the repositioning and how we will be, somebody will be delivering value. The delivering value, if you go to smaller organizations, I've seen some of our members in organizations, like it was mentioned, 10 crores or 40 crores or 50 crores, those kind of organizations, a single member, single CMA. That single CMA is so much liked, so much given of importance by the owner. It's a single owner most of the time. And the single owner really respects. I know of a company which is, today it's $1 billion company, but the point is the initial things, the owner is a sort of business kind of person, business family, very global business. So this gentleman used to say, these two CMAs I had in 1990, whatever, the names are also there. I'll share it if you want on a personal basis. But the point is, those people made a difference to his business. They made the business from what it was, which was probably a 15 million, 20 million business, I'm talking in dollars, to a $1 billion business. How did it happen? Because these people were involved in the way in which they think so I don't think CMAs are to be worried only about the size of the organization they're working. it has something to do with the professional as an individual. So the professional as an individual development is very much part of the repositioning and strengthening our network. The second is what the institute as the profession, the institute itself will deliver to move towards this. I'll give you, in my experience over so many years, I have myself and my colleagues who worked with me and so on, a number of engagements in the cost management area and so on. We have used, I call this as a sort of methodology. Six method we try our best to do. The early days, it was all analysis-based methods. So you take material, labor, overheads and do a lot of analysis and so on. So we call that, I at least call it in our own internal jargon, analysis-based. The second, when this was what Ms. Narayan, Ms. Raman and so on, 1988 and all that, got trained formally in ABC and so on. Resource-based and activity-based, which is second and third methodology, huge methodology. And in those days, I can tell you, we did a lot of billing on resource-based costing and it made a huge difference. But the point was it really useful to the company? I can tell you now, at that time, we did an assignment at the Rourkela steel plant, an activity-based. You can imagine the huge size of it and so on. But the point was, what was the benefit that SAIL got out of that is I would not be able to judge, but I don't think over the years, I don't know whether it has really helped. But resource-based, later on, I realized was a phenomenally powerful tool, powerful methodology of cost. Activity-based, of course, in many companies, many people, for a period of time, till they understood. In my personal opinion, the other method, which really was very meaningful to me and which helped us to build a good consulting business, was related to the capital business. So the entire capital cost related, because the impact is phenomenal. The impact was, in many cases, a 1%, 1.5% change because of capital cost management was huge. In almost all the companies, I can mention a large number of MNCs, a large number of Indian large companies, but I'm deliberately telling you large companies, but it also worked in small companies, in MSMEs also. So capital cost related analysis, the separate analysis. Then value-based outcome, this is something which Mr. Raman was very fond of and he used to drive it in a number of companies. The value-based is a little bit of a tricky thing because the value definition was always an issue and value and cost, we had a lot of difficulty relating it. But to simple example I'll give you, there is a simple plate, let's say a plate made of stainless steel. And the stainless, it's a somewhat of an example, I can't give you exact example, but I'll tell you so that you can relate to it. So the stainless steel plate, supposing I draw a small silver line on that. I'm a stainless steel supplier, so I'm saying to certain types of customers who have, let's say, marriage gifts and who have, there's a market. I found that there's a market. The value for that, there is a value. So I'll draw a nice silver, pure silver, on the stainless steel and then supply. And then we talked about gold also. This was at that time a discussion on that particular company. So what would be the value? And what would be the cost of that? So this is the point. Similarly, I combine sales and service. How much would it really add value to I give you a complete integrated value delivery to the customer. How much would he pay for it? This is a big issue. So value-based analysis, value-based costing has got its own phenomenal meaning, but tricky little bit of in terms of measurement. And CMAs are generally comfortable with exact measurement. So when we got down a little more mature in the 2000s and so on, when we got into intangible-based analysis and intangible-based costing and so on, just to give what I mean by intangible is brand, just one word, brand. So if I had to do a brand value building and brand cost building into an organization, so it's very tricky. Even at the CEO level, at the MD level, if it's owned by a family manager, then you have a very senior person who takes the final decision. You go to somewhere, Mumbai or wherever, and then there's a real convincing done, it gets done because the brand is being, and you are saying, let's spend 200 crores on this, or 2 crores, whatever you want to do. And there is a value, then the cost is easier to, then you say, I'll engage an agency, I'll do all this, and there's a cost. So the value delivery on an intangible is a very, very tricky situation. So in a small professional life, one can come up with different kinds of methodology And each of these methodologies can deliver, and I can't share you the billing value that we got as an organization by doing all this, but that is where the profession makes a difference. This point is that's really what the repositioning and strengthening is going to mean. We have a tremendous amount of opportunities of understanding and knowing, and the institute will ensure that it's delivering all of this. Supposing in this room 1,000 people get together and understand all the methodologies that they have used over a period of time, and all these methodologies are documented, and today in the technology world we are able to create an information base which could be used without any difficulty, then definitely value architecture is not, CMA as a value architect is not an issue at all. It is something which is, I am telling you based on experience on a micro basis. The micro basis can be extended to a phenomenally macro level by ensuring that we are able to have a mechanism. And that is what is going to have when we intensify and when we really strengthen the way we are doing. And over a period of time, everybody was talking about consulting as an area where CMA is absolutely no doubt. CMA is, I can personally vouch for it. But the point is, CMAs being a great input into consulting would come only if you have that wider exposure to domain, wider exposure to all kinds of, I have done programs where we used to talk about 26 tools, 41 tools and so on, which we developed over a period of time. All of that makes difference. But the applicability, understanding comes with the domain expertise. So you combine both of these, the tool knowledge, the technology, and that is where the institute will really help us to build the entire connect. And this connect is applicable. CMA is again branded in line with manufacturing is something which we have overcome, I think. Today, if I go to IT companies, I go to finance companies and so on, I find fair amount of CMAs. So, but the only thing is they're doing fairly routine report-based work based on past. Like it was very clearly mentioned, the future and the strategy would really make a difference. So, will we lead it is a question that we're going to be asking. The leading comes, I can give you based on the experience, and that this is supposed to be an experience sharing session. So I can tell you a very large number of good CEOs, and I'm sure Mr. Narayan will agree with that, a large number of them do not value people based on what their name or their qualification and so on over a period of time. They're going to value on the contribution that they're going to make. And this contribution comes out of how I project myself. I come up with ideas. I'm a presenter of information, I'm a presenter of data analysis, like he was rightly mentioning. The analysis is, how much are we using of the analysis is a big question. But if the CMA is able to make the analysis meaningful to the owner, to the company, to the board, to everybody else, it would really, really make a difference. So the point is that we need to be moving from the presenter, analytical person, very good, CMAs are very good, we have already done that. My only concern is that we have done it at individual levels. Very large number of CMAs have been extremely successful in their own organizations where they've done it very well. But how much of that is being intensified? How much of it is being brought into the enhanced knowledge base that we are supposed to have is the point. And I think the institute with the last few presidents and the current council and everybody else rightly are engaged with that. And I'm very, very comfortable with what is being done as a member. And I think this will lead us to the right place of and using the knowledge and the information. I will mention only one other point here. There is something called a CEO agenda. The CEO agenda varies across businesses in very, very different manners. Like it was mentioned also, it looks like a repeat of Mr. Narayan's speech, but the point is I had to take some of the points. He talked about startups. So I have been involved in startups in a fairly significant way as advisor and stuff like that. Like cash burn and all that is a very important part. But I know that CMAs can really contribute by significantly taking the available data and to projecting it in the future. So the CEO agenda is most of the time on 3 or 4 factors. One factor is related to what is the kind of money and how much cash and cash flow related matter. Second is risk. It was also mentioned. Risk is a very important. CMAs probably, in my opinion, I know the professions because I worked in an organization, very large organization, which is one of the largest number of the other profession, other body ICAI members in the organization. So you understand the way in which a CMAs can make a difference in terms of talking about risk. So the risk is a very, very important area, and absolutely CEO agenda. Every CEO today, especially, we used to do feasibility studies with 10-year projections. In 2000, people said 5-year, give a 5. Now nobody asks for 5-year projections. They ask for 3-year projections because I know 20 factors are there which is going to kill my 3 years. And some chap who's got initial of D and T and so on will make a huge killing to all of us, or somebody else in a neighboring country can create a lot of trouble for us. So the point, these are global issues, and we are a global organization. And that is why the global professional firm that I was talking about, not firm, agency, institution, which I worked with, when we did the real revisioning and so on, this is one of the most important things that they did. They shifted out of sort of a national focus into a global focus. It made a huge difference for that, and they put people all over the world. They created like what we should also be looking at, and already we have some international representation of our institute. But the point is this is to be done something in a very, very different manner. So the CEO agenda drives cost, drives risk, drives productivity, drives responsibility, all of this. This is what the CEO is bothered about. And that, in my opinion, CMA is probably the most fittest to give the answers, because the kind of analysis that we've been doing all our lives is really significant. And that is what will make a difference as we go forward. But the point is, there is a little bit of a bridge. There's a link that needs to be built between how do we have the past data and taking it forward into the future, where we can look at risk, we can look at what can be got, how we can get, and so on. So broadly, I wanted to really make the difference in terms of enthusiasm level for RISE. That's really what my agenda is. So that strength, that comfort that I want the members, it does not matter. RISE is a great, it could be any other, doesn't matter. As I told you, the acronyms are great things, don't worry about it, but push on what that acronym conveys and what we have to do. It's not a one-year journey, it's going to be many years. But all of us, especially the youngsters, what makes me happy, especially person at my age level, is that the youngsters today are really different. They're far better than the contemporaries that I had, or seniors I've seen and so on, in terms of the profession. And they are not so much emotionally connected to the profession, doesn't matter. But they are going to drive and deliver what the profession will deliver and what the perception of the stakeholder is going to be. And that is where I'm so happy. So when Mr. Dalwadi talked about 1 lakh to 16 lakh, 1 lakh to 16 million also is possible. And that is also something which will happen. Whether you like it or not, it will happen. Don't worry. But the point is that the drive, if it comes in an organized manner, and if you are able to drive it to that level, I think we'll make a huge difference. And that is today, that is this convention's drive. That is what this convention wants to do. This 63rd, we should get the message, we should do everything, and it's going to be highly participative. It has to work both ways. The institute will do certain things, we will have to do certain things, and our responsibility individually is far more, and let's all contribute. And I hope, sorry I've exceeded a little bit of time, but this is very important for me, and I hope this message is clear. And that is what a plenary session is going to be. Now let us listen to a very, very tough side, an SME kind of a person who has seen what these professionals are doing, what the CMAs are doing, and he's going to tell us a little bit. I hope he's going to give us both sides, good and bad. Let's look for the best. Thank you. I request Mr. Ilango to come and give his point.
Chairperson of this session, Sri Thiruvengadam, President and Office Bearers of ICMAI, Convention Delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I deem it an honor to be here today and address the delegates at this 63rd National Cost and Management Accountants Convention 2026. I thank the National Office Bearers of ICMAI, Organizing Committee, and the President of the Coimbatore Chapter, Dr. Maheshwar, and his team for this unique opportunity. Honestly, I do not have much experience working with cost accountants, so I don't have anything negative to say about it, except in my role as chairman or member of 2 audit committees in publicly listed companies. Hence, my knowledge of working of members of ICMI has been more from a compliance angle. In fact, for my own company, RSM Autocast, when we received notice from the register of companies regarding non-compliance on cost accounting, I found out that our products don't fall under the requirement of cost accounting, so it was a big relief. But I have come to know the role of members of this august body far beyond providing services for statutory compliances, but goes into many other domains, be it in contribution to the economic reforms of this country, management advisory, of which people like Mr. Tiruvengam are specialists, enhancing competitiveness among them. And I am truly thrilled that this convention, aptly themed Rise India, focuses on repositioning India and CMAs, intensifying growth of the profession, strengthening competence, enhancing leadership in manufacturing services. While repositioning and strengthening competence is internal to the organization and its members, I'd like to share my perspective on the needs of the industry, especially MSMEs, with whom I've closely worked with and of whom I am one of them. I've been managing MSMEs for the last 40 years. Since the beginning of the economic reforms in 1991, we have come a long way in the India growth story. And this India growth story is going to continue for the next 20 years, at least in the kind of pace which we are seeing today. Well, driven by demographic dividend and the local consumption, I'm sure that to some extent we'll be immune to international pressures. But having said that, we still have to be prepared for whatever changes, seismic changes which are happening globally. Viksit Bharat 2047, to which the CMAs want to contribute to, is the focus of this convention. Well, it's a long, long road ahead, and another 20 years is a long time with the kind of global changes which are happening. I'm sure that we're going to see a lot more turmoil, and irrespective of it, the growth story is going to continue. Now let's analyze where we are and how the world is changing and how it's going to have an impact on us MSMEs, and I'd like to relate it to the story of MSMEs in Coimbatore. Well, today, as much as we are going to be very happy saying that we are going to be the 3rd largest economy in the world, we should look at where we stand vis-a-vis our main competitors in this world. Today, whether we like it or not, we are in a receiving end vis-a-vis the American sanctions. They're talking about the Russia sanctions, oil sanctions, where we have a 25% tariff, Russia tariff. Whereas the same thing when it was applied to China, they were able to beat them on their own game. China threatened to stop their delivery of their permanent magnets required for their equipment, and the US succumbed and they cut down their tariffs. It was just one particular issue. And look at the trade deficit compared to India's trade deficit compared to, US's trade deficit with India compared to that of China. And you can see that with the sheer strength that China has, they were able to browbeat the Americans in their own game. So why do I talk so much about China, and why do I have to compare ourselves with China? It's because today China's competitiveness, its capabilities is what we have to look at when we look at ourselves. Today China is the factory of the world. Their export competitiveness is very, very high. We started, my own company, we started exporting in 1996, much before the Chinese entered the market for our products. Chinese entered the market sometime in 2001 or 2002, the early 2000s. Until then, we had the whole world chasing us, asking to supply huge quantities, which we were not capable of supplying, and we did not have the strength or the vision to grow to the and scale up to the extent the world required. But in a matter of a decade after the Chinese came in, at one point in the mid 2000, around 2005-06, we were exporting to about 30 countries around the world in all geographies. But in another 5 years after that, they came and beat us hollow. We today are exporting only about a tenth of what we used to do, and we are not at all competitive. We now export to about half a dozen countries. We visited some of these competitors in China to see how they work, and it is simply the scale and their competitiveness vis-a-vis how they're able to do and manage their costs. And that is where the role of thinking about how do we go about matching them price to price, or you having a cutting edge, matters a lot to us. Their approach on having a cluster-based growth, if you look at cities, even Mr. Narayan was just talking to me about having cluster-based industrial parks to be set up by government. I mean, this is the need of the hour, and that is how they're able to be competitive, they're able to grow together. And one particular company makes one product, one design, one size, and the next neighbor makes the other one. So these MSMEs collaborate and grow together in clusters. So this is where Coimbatore story itself becomes very relevant, and how was the first one which was started. And then subsequently, there were a number of local entrepreneurs who started textile mills. So by World War II, there were quite a few, about 40 or 50 textile mills. And World War II gave them a huge boost. And so the textile spinning industry became very, very prominent, because England wanted cloth, and whoever had the yarn or the cloth had the strength to produce more. So cluster of textile spinning mills happened, and from that cluster, then spinning cluster, people moved into weaving, people moved into garments, value addition. Garments were either woven or knitted like Tirupur. Then they went into more value addition like the cluster in Karur, which is the home linen sector. So things started growing up in clusters. And if you see, if somebody does one product, you can see a lot, and is successful, a lot more entrepreneurs wanting to try that out. So soon after that, people, since there were so many textile industry, textile mills here, textile machineries were started. Then they needed repairs, so motors, pumps were repaired here, then they were manufactured here. Subsequently, to supply to them, cater to them, foundries were started in the early 50s. Then you had auto components coming in. Since they were foundries, mostly they were gray iron, subsequently steel. Some of them moved to steel castings. So Ramakrishna Steel Industries was the first, and then many clones came up. Then machine shops, fabrication. And today, Coimbatore, if you look at it, has grown in clusters. If you look at it, yes, when you grow in clusters, one of the disadvantages, every other person ends up being your competitor. But Coimbatore also saw synergy in working together. If you see such specific industry-based association, we have an association for wet grinders, we have an association for kitchen machinery manufacturers, we have an association for bakery product manufacturers, we have association for everything. So as much as they are competitors, they join together when it comes to common issues. And they even get cluster-based funding from the central government if required, which Coimbatore jewelry making, there's a jewelry cluster coming up. So there's so many such clusters which have grown, they've grown together. So somewhere on the line, they have worked together in the lines of how China has developed, and we have a history of doing it together, and that is one of the strengths of Coimbatore's growth. One of the issues which also happened at that time is competition. So as much as clusters grew, entrepreneurship also grew. Every Coimbaturian wanted to be an entrepreneur. I used to really think that, I knew most of my employees were aspirational entrepreneurs, and some of them did go on to become entrepreneurs. That's the way Coimbatore works. But it also had a flip side. Many of them were inefficient, many of them were not so quality conscious, and many of them had other issues. But what happened subsequently, after the introduction of GST, until GST was there, all these things were happening. So when GST was introduced and compliance became an issue, many of these inefficient MSMEs, it's sad to say that about 25 to 30% of especially micro industries in Coimbatore had shut shop within 5 years. It's very sad that these entrepreneurs had to go. But then what happened was this helped the growth of other resilient MSMEs who had the ability, who had the vision to grow, be quality conscious, cost competitive, and they went on to become much bigger. And these are the ones which Mr. Narayan Sethuraman was talking about, the more enterprising ones who introduced CNC machines, induction furnaces, or robots now for at least a few machines. So these things, those who had the vision and who were able to modernize kept growing. So what has happened? So this is the current situation of Coimbatore where we stand, the MSMEs of Coimbatore. Yes, they are very resilient, they are growing, but still there are other issues that we have. There are new headwinds which are there, which we see today. Competitors, yes, we are kind of protected from the global supply chain to some extent by the government's certain QCO policies and other policies, but they're not going to help us for long. And in this, how do we stay relevant? How do we stay focused? How do we grow our volumes is what we are looking at. One of the things about Coimbatore in the past, if you look at it, the MSME entrepreneurs, once they reach a particular stage, they are very risk averse. Many of us, at least till our generation, the new generation is very different. But till our generation, many of them don't want to take risks. First thing is, let's protect what we have earned, then look at growth. So many of them, if you look at Coimbatore in the 70s, had such large number of listed companies. And in the last 3-4 decades, you hardly have a dozen or 20 companies which went public. Rest of them are contented being having controls and being proprietary partnership or just private limited, closely held. So this is the kind of approach Coimbaturians had. So this is what has kept us back from what we are. So we are great as MSMEs, but moving to the next level, there are very few of us who have gone and done it. People like Craftsman Engineering, KPR Mills are some of the few who have really broken the barriers and gone ahead. So what is required now and how do we work together is where I'm coming to, giving you the story of where Coimbatore is, where China is, and where we have to look at support and where we need to go forward. For us in Coimbatore, there are ambitious people who would grow individually. Many of them are Craftsman Engineering. Ravi is a close friend of mine, the chairman managing director of Craftsman, and he had the ambition and he has grown to great levels today from where he was. Today it's almost more than $500 million company, and they are going great guns, acquiring companies around the country and growing internationally as well. But there are others who are limited by either their capacity or their ambition. But together as clusters, these industries produce a lot of value. Take the foundry cluster. There are about, Coimbatore is the foundry capital of the country. There are at least 400 MSME, 400 foundries. Some of them have moved beyond MSMEs. 400 foundries in Coimbatore. It used to be 600. Like I told you, some of the inefficient ones have closed down. Now there are bigger foundries, but there are at least 400 of them in Coimbatore. So a foundry cluster, for example, we work together. Today we are starting a foundry development center to train and do research in foundry. In Coimbatore, this is being funded by the state government where TIDCO is taking a stake. So we are looking at working together and growing. So in your agenda at this convention, you're looking at, when I see the sessions that you have, you would like to be strategic partners in MSME startups and digital India initiatives, enhancing competitiveness through innovation, cost optimization, opportunities in Gati Shakti or PLI schemes or Make in India schemes which are available, cost leadership in specific sectors which you've already spoken about, new age costing for Industry 4.0, 5.0 and smart manufacturing and lean operations. And these are the areas which a lot of MSMEs need support on. This is where the opportunity is there for us MSMEs to work with members of ICMAI to see where we can take this forward to achieve common objectives for mutual benefit. We as industry associations, I've been closely associated with various industry associations in Coimbatore, Codicea being one of them, the Chamber of Commerce, CII Coimbatore chapter, Thai Coimbatore chapter. So we've been working closely with MSMEs here and other industries. So if we can work together and with members of local chapter of ICMAI and see how we can support industry either individually or as clusters, that will be mutually beneficial for all of us. And this is where I see a great amount of opportunity. Take my own company for example. We make auto components. These are basically components, machine castings for commercial vehicles. And we've been doing it for 60 years. I've been in this for 40 years. And if you say the kind of growth we have, are we doing great? No, we're not. Am I happy? Yes, I'm happy. There's no doubt about it. And as I said, I'm a typical Coimbatorian limited by ambition. But having said it, the next generation has already come in and they are much more hungry and ambitious. We need to allow them to progress and they need support. And how do we use all these examples to make sure that we are competitive vis-a-vis the Chinese, we are competitive, making sure that we reach out to the rest of the world. India's success, for example, take two-wheelers. The Indian two-wheeler industries is beaten Chinese two-wheeler industry all across the world. Most of the countries, it's all the Indian two-wheelers. Take the TVSs, the Bajajes, they rule the roost. And the Chinese can do nothing. So if you have success, are there success stories for us to look forward to? Yes, fantastic success stories are there. But now, how do we relate it, apply it in our businesses? How do we control costs? We had Mr. Narayanan talk about how do you work out costs? Where do you put the target cost and then look at profits? So this is how we need to work, and we need professional help in doing so. There are other areas in management which we would like to, we cannot, we can engage CMAs, some of us can, but not every organization can, and in this we can work together as clusters. So I look forward to working with the local chapter. The local chapter president himself is quite well known, and so we look forward to working with the local chapter ICMAI and for the mutual benefit. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. Wish you all 2 days of great sessions during the convention, and wishing each and everyone the very best and a happy new year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lingo. It was a very, very good presentation, very focused, and we got absolutely 2 or 3 good points that we have to follow up from our side. And he has talked about the Coimbatore clusters and how they have developed and so on. Because of the time and so on, I'm not able to open the session for questions. If you have any individual questions, please feel free to ask. We'll be here. Mr. Elango, you can always contact through Coimbatore chapter. And I request, please, if you want to, vote of thanks.
Good evening and namaskaram. Respected dignitaries, distinguished guests, speakers, my dear professional colleague, all the past presidents, CCMs, and local chapter representative, and all the delegates. As this enriching plenary session on RISE India repositions draw to a close, it is both an honor and a privilege for me to propose a vote of thanks. At the outset, I extend our deepest gratitude to my President CMA TCA Prasad sir and my Vice President Neeraj Joshi sir for their visionary leadership and unwavering guidance. I also warmly acknowledge CMA Vibhuti Nayak sir, our immediate past president and council member, whose wisdom, continuity of thought and unwavering commitment to professional excellence continue to inspire us. My special thanks to chairperson of this plenary session, CMA Partha Harthi sir, former senior director management consultant, Deloitte India. Sir, with your vast experience in management consulting at Deloitte India, you are seamlessly steered this session with clarity, relevance, and strategic insights. You are covered all the stakeholders from businessmen to worker. Also, you added your 6 methodologies and risk analysis for CMS. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time in this plenary session, sir. We are immensely grateful to our dignitary speaker, Sri K. Inaugural, sir, Managing Director, RSM Autocast Private Limited, for sharing his valuable industry insight, practical wisdom. Your address beautifully bridged the world of MSNE Manufacturing Excellence with cost and management. Also, you added the Coimbatore story, like they are working in the customs. So thank you so much for your valuable time in this NCMAC and this is plenary sessions. I would also like to thank convention organization committee, convention team, volunteer staff members for their flawless execution of these sessions, making it both meaningful and memorable. With this, I once again thank you so much everyone who contributed to the success of these plenary sessions and wish you all the continued enriching experience at NCMAC 2026. Thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai CMA.
Thank you, sir. And now, ladies and gentlemen, these events are thoughtfully curated to provide a refreshing cultural experience alongside our professional deliberations and to foster the fellowship and camaraderie among our delegates. And now, our campus is going to turn into a vibrant and colorful and cherishing and remembering all your college days. We are going to turn this campus into a vibrant and cherishful moment, embracing everyone. And now we welcome our Volcano troupe from Cochin to take position.